Now, big games, of course, football at the weekend. We have a big triple header on in Croke Park. Let's deal with Cork Galway, because that's an interesting tussle there. There are 6 changes on the Cork team.
Cork named their dummy team during the week. For once, actually, I think this team might start. 5 changes, or 5 subs that came on against Kerry now start. You know, Alan Quirk back in goals. Paddy Kissan and O'Leary dropped. Surprise, you know, but there's a bit more pace and mobility in the half-forward line. Conor has a problem in that there's so many players pushing for places there, and it has been difficult to get the balance right over the past couple of years. But I still think they'll have enough for Galway, Marty. There's enough experience. You know, they didn't play for 20 minutes against Kerry, but they had a rousing finish, and if they can go about their business like that, they'll be fine, I think.
What about you, Dick? Because obviously you know Armagh quite well, but how do you rate Galway having beaten Armagh?
Well, I have to be unashamedly diplomatic here, Marty, because we could be facing some of these teams. But listen, they're 2 traditional teams. You know, I was watching the highlights of the Galway game. You know, they don't play blanket defences. Cork are a very typical traditional team, so it'll be a game for the purists. I suppose for Galway, they've probably hit a few milestones now in the last couple of weeks that they've won a qualifier game. They've beaten a top tier team, if you want to call Armagh that at this stage, and that will give them a huge amount of confidence. You know, they have a lot of young players coming in, and you know, maybe a game like against Cork, you know, if they could get over the likes of that, or even put up a great performance, that'll launch Galway onto bigger and better things. As Damien rightly said, with Cork, you know, they've just got such an embarrassment of riches. It's difficult for them to know the best 15. I think that with the resources that they have, especially just looking at their bench going into the weekend, that will probably be enough to get them over the line. But I think it'll be a good game. So
2 for Cork. What about you, Brendan? Cork or Galway?
Yeah, I would have to say Cork. I saw Galway playing tip above in Salt Hill, and they did look a bit nervy and a bit jittery, but then they fell across the line against Waterford. Then the next game transformed against Armagh, you know. But it came down to mine in the last year. I think football has gone into, if you get a good start, the momentum carries you through. The other team then have to come out and play. Whereas if it's nip and tuck at the start, everyone kind of sits in their defences for all the world. But if you get the jump on the other team, momentum brings you a long way.
You got 4 quick points on Sunday, and you only got 2 maybe for the last.
It just settles the nerves, and you know, Galway have enough firepower and potential if they can get break even around midfield, and I think that'll be the key, because Cork can be potentially so dominant around the middle, and then you're just on the back foot. But you know, see Paul Conroy is out playing around the middle with Galway. He's a big player. Maybe Robin Peter to pay Paul because he is such a potent force at full forward. So maybe an awful lot, maybe too much, just might rest on his shoulders.